This is going to be an updated review on the Böker two-bladed trapper. This is after a couple of days of using this knife out of the box. Some people, I don't think I covered the type of steel it was made out of. Some people's asking, is it Soligen? It's not Soligen steel. Böker went to a high carbon D2 steel, and it seems a little bit stronger, holds a edge a lot better than Soligen. A lot of people's wanted to know like the steel quality, and I have not sharpened this blade. I've been using it directly out of the box. Camera's trying to turn over. That's not good. But they've got them marked D2. It's a high carbon steel. It's got a lot of chrome and finish. Now the Soligen blades would kind of turn a dull color if you handle it a lot. These, you can handle the blades a lot. They've got a lot of high chrome in them. The edge is razor sharp. I think the D2 is probably better than Soligen. I've used a lot of Soligen blades, but I've used this knife several days doing woodwork, carving out chair pieces, pegs, doing just the common woodworking with oak. This knife is made in Germany. It's got it on and it's also got it on the website. So if you're looking for Böker knives and you don't have a local dealer, you can order these from the manufacturer. They do have a website now. That's something new that I've learned, is they have a online website where you can go through all the different knives that they have and purchase them online. Another thing is, some people that's new to knives may not understand the handles and how they're made on these knives. This one is a bone handle, and it's been dyed. They've dyed it black, and with use, this dye will come out on your hands, and the bone will change color. You can see it change, a little bit of changing in the color. It'll bleed out, and you'll start getting these unique tones in the color of the wood and the bone. It kind of mimics how wood changes colors in a way. But this is what gives them their unique color. You see old pocket knives in places that sells old pocket knives, and you'll see the bone. It'll be different colors in it. It's just from use. You can see where it's lightened up. You get all these different shades of color in the bone. You can see where you'll get different shades in it. But that's just part of owning this style of bone handle. Now if you don't like that, you can get stag, or you can get synthetic. Turtle shell is pretty neat on Böker. I like the turtle shell. Yeah, I think it's synthetic made. I'm not real sure. But you can get different style. If you get bone and it's colored, you will have color changes in it. That's just normal. That's just the normal process and how they dyed the bone to come out these colors. But as you handle these knives and you work with them, your hands will sweat and it will come out. You'll have it on your hands sometimes. but it'll just get more unique with time. You'll have different shades of colors, swirls and stuff according to the bone. That's pretty normal. But we'll show you just how sharp this knife is directly out of the box. And I've been using this knife quite a bit. Now this is a type of oak that I've been making pegs for furniture. You can see how I've made it. I've split it out of a piece of a oak tree directly out of the mountains. And we've made these pegs. When you make furniture, the pegs you buy out of the stores, wood craft places and stuff, they're not always the size you need. So if you're doing antique furniture, you got to make your own parts. If you don't make your own parts, then they won't fit. So wood files, stuff like that, you'll spend a lot of time doing a lot of handwork, and a good knife is definitely required because you got to take off a lot of wood material. And this knife, you can see just how fine it can roll. Now, if I just want to touch up a little spot on something when I'm working, I can just lightly roll it off. Let's say there's a edge on a piece of furniture and I don't like the feel of it and I want to lightly roll it off. I can do this with the D2 style steel tree brand Böker. Now, if there's a bad edge on something like this and you want to take it off real quick, this knife will do it. Now, this knife is super sharp and you got to be very careful with it. I've got quite a bit of experience with Bökers, but you can take it off and it cuts perfectly smooth. See, now this oak is not easy to cut. So if you find a blade that will cut oak like this, it is very amazing. You can just see how quick you can polish off the end of a peg. If you're needing to round off a peg, you can just lightly go around it with a Böker. The blade is sharp enough to where you can control how much wood you're taking off. I don't find too many knives that comes out of the box like this. You can do really fine work with it and round off stuff. But now, say you're needing to take a lot of wood off quick, you can flip the blade around this way and you can just peel it right off. You can go as deep as you want, but it does perfect work. This is why I go with Bökers when I do woodworking. My family was originally from Germany. They would mine in the wintertime, dig coal through the winter, make their money running their own mines. But in the summer, they did woodwork. They brought this with them from Germany when they came to the U.S. This is just an old tradition that's kept coming from generation to generation. We just keep picking it up. But that's just what we've always used as a Böker. Now plowing fields and stuff and just doing farm work, we carry just a regular case, double X tested, and we use it for cutting twine, doing farm work, cutting stuff like that. But when it comes to our woodworking, we would always use a tree brand. Böker Soligen, but now that they've got D2 steel, I see that this is pretty high quality. Böker was around the same region that my family had originated from. It was from Westphalia, off the Rhine River. Mainly lived in the forest regions. The Black Forest is woodworking, metalworking, and mining was what they originally was used to doing, so they brought it to America. They also did woodworking for clocks, making cuckoo clock parts. And this was the knife that they would use. They'd always use a tree brand. But it works. Tree brand has always been the go-to when it comes to woodworking. You can control just how much wood you take off. You can control every little bit of what you're doing. So when you're working and you're doing something very small, tedious, you can control it. You can go real deep if you needed. If you needed to take off a real big piece, you can go real deep. But you can just see. Now, most knives you get out of the box, you'll usually have to sharpen them. The edge won't hold too good. But now, this is one trick that I'm going to show you that's very unusual, that I usually only find in a tree brand. So when you get up here on the tip of the blade, you can do the same thing all the way up on the tip of the blade. You can even do it on the very end. If you need to get into a little spot, shave off just a very fine bit. Say you're carving a piece for a cuckoo clock. You can get in there with just the tip and curl it off. So this is why the family has used Böker for all these years. This is why I decided to go back to a Böker. If you watch, you can see just how sharp this blade is out of the box. I don't have to sharpen it, I don't have to do anything. I can take it straight out of the box and just use it. I can do the finest of work with this knife. Now, the other knives that they make that's got more blades in them, I'm sure they're just as fine as this knife. I plan on picking up some more when I get a chance and get the money. But it just glides so smooth. There's no resistance. You can even see I'm just barely pushing the blade, and it's just, now it'll do it all the way down. You can start at the tip. You can keep curling. You can keep curling all the way down as long as you got a bite on the wood and you don't hit a slick spot. But this is what makes it so fun owning a Böker. If you're actually using it for something, you can go in and just shave out anything you're working on. My family mainly used these for woodworking. If you're just carrying a pocket knife for just general purpose of cutting twine or cutting weeds or something like that, you don't necessarily need a knife this sharp. It's just preference. But now if you actually use your knife for a lot of woodworking or something like that, then you would definitely want this type of blade. this kind of craftsmanship is just amazing in a knife. You can go all the way around. You can do a lot faster work. If you're wanting to do real quick work, you can skim the blade down across a piece of wood and get it shaped to any shape you want it. You get down on the ends of it, get up high on it. You can even get in with the tip of the blade. Get all the way down. So it just depends what you're doing. But if you really like a sharp knife and you need one for everyday purpose, this would be the knife you want to get. I've carried this knife for a few days and used it. It's been very surprising. And I really like the carbon steel, the D2 steel. You get this really high shine. And you don't get no scratches in the blade when doing woodworking. Some will turn kind of got a white color to it if you handle it a lot. This seems to be pretty corrosion resistant from what I've noticed. These will kind of dull down a little bit if you sweat and use it quite a bit. It'll kind of dull down a little bit, but that's just normal. It's nothing out of the ordinary there. It is put together with the brass plates in between. But it's just been a extremely nice knife. Makes working and carving out stuff and doing woodworking, especially with oak. Oak's a lot harder to work with a regular knife. A lot of times you get a lot of problems trying to keep a blade sharp when working with oak. So this is my input on several days of using this, doing wood repair and making stuff. I've been using it for a few days now, and it's just quite amazing, the sharpness, how well it performs. I do recommend these over other brands. I like a knife right out of the box that I don't have to sharpen, I don't have to worry with. I can just use. I can sit and do whatever I need to do. That's one reason I'm buying the knife, is to use it. So with them, I don't have to worry about sharpening it, and it should hold edge for quite a while. I've been using it now on this pretty hard oak, making these oak pegs. You can see just the type of oak it is. It's very close to the center core of the oak tree, so it's pretty hard. But you can easily glide it across and do any kind of work you want to do. You can take off as much as you want. You can control it real easily. There's no resistance. I mean, it's smooth. It's just like cutting butter. You can go in and just shave off anything you want. You can go in with the front blade, very tip of the blade, and just curl the smallest of curls if you need to curl. It's just amazing the quality and the price on these. I do recommend them. If you like a good knife directly out of the box and something you don't have to sharpen or worry with, this is probably the knife you want to go for. I'd say any of their knives would be like this. But this one's been very nice. You can go in, and if you want to make a wood peg or make a piece, you can go in and just peel it off real easily. Start way down on the low end of the blade. It'll curl it. You can go in the middle of the blade. Go all the way out to the tip. You can go and get the finest of fines if you want to get real fine. I don't find this kind of quality in too many knives, especially today. Now, in the old days, there's a lot of brands that spend a lot of time and effort in a pocket knife. But you can shape out a piece of wood, and then you can take a hand file and just roll it. Then you can take out all the white marks from the pocket knife. Once you get all the square edges from the blade cuts rounded down, then you can feel it in the file. The file will just slide, and you won't feel it catch once you get all the square edges off. But you can see that that's how you make your handmade wooden pegs. You don't have to have a machine. If you got the time and you're not in no big hurry, you can make spindles, dowels, pegs. You can even make it if you're doing a old style barn and you don't have nails and you've got plenty of oak trees around. You can make your own wood pegs and assemble your barn. Just peg them in, saw them off. In that barn, you'll never have to worry about the nails rusting out, especially if you live in a place that's got a lot of humidity. Peg making is pretty essential. Spindles is quite essential if you're doing chairs. There's always broken spindles and you gotta hand make them. So if you do a lot of that work, I do recommend picking up one of their knives. But this is kind of a updated review for people that's got a few more questions on them. It does work real smooth, and sometimes I get carried away and I forget what I'm doing because the knife cuts so smooth that I get into this whittling process and totally forget what I'm doing. So I have to kind of think about what I'm doing, so I'll stop whittling. The knife just cuts so smooth that I totally forget sometimes that I'm making something. You'll get carried away just feeling the blade cut through the hard oak. It's kind of relaxing, especially on a cold day, sitting over a fire or heater or something. You'll get carried away just cruising along, shaving whittlings. But that's the review on that after carrying it for a while. A couple of days after getting it out of the box and just using it directly from the box. If anybody's got questions on that one, that's my thoughts on it.